already gone over this stuff. Okay. Guys, I hit record button late, but we just kind of put the 0 degrees, 2 pi, and all that around the unit circle. All right. So if the radius is 1, and you know how like you could draw a triangle, like don't draw this part, but you know how like we could draw a triangle and go like this? But if it's at 0 degrees, what is your x and what is your y if it's a flat triangle? No. What is your x?
Oh, your x is 0.
No, you're close. X is not 0.
360?
No. Yeah, we're close to the...
180?
No. So, remember what's the radius?
1.
1. So if the triangle's flat, what's the x of this triangle?
1?
1.
Oh.
Y'all see that? Yeah? So write down 1. What's the y? What's the height of this triangle?
1.
No.
Oh.
Does this triangle have any height? If it's just flat?
No.
No, so it's
0.
0. 1, 0. Just think of it like this. If this is a point, that point, remember the radius is 1, so it would be 1 comma 0. Is everybody cool with that? So I'm going to see, what would be, if the triangle was up here, straight up, what would be the point up here?
1.
Give it to me as a point.
0.
0,
1.
1. Y'all cool with that? See how it's coming together?
Yeah.
What would be this one at 180? Think of a line going this way. Stopping here. Yeah, negative 1, 0. Good job. I think y'all got it. What would be 270? Yay, 0, negative 1. And we're done. Okay. We're going to come back and we're going to use these later on. All right, so now we're going to practice. So sine of 180. Sine is y over r. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the unit circle. So we're going to come here. So we go to 180, which is here. What is the y value at 180? 0. So it's going to be 0
Over 1?
over 1. Yeah, that's right. So sine at 180, 0 divided by 1 is
0.
0. That's the answer. So if you go to Desmos, sine at 180, and it's in degrees, it's equal to 0.
Cosine is x over r?
Yes. Okay. So then this would be x over r, which would be negative 1 over 1, which is what? Negative 1. Do y'all see how that's kind of working? All right. How about you guys try to do these 3? Do C, D, E, and F using the 1, 0, 0, 1, negative, all that stuff. Oh.
So you see how this says 180? So this is the x and this would be y over 180. So it would be x and y. Yeah. Yeah, 0. 270.
Just yawned on the video. Was it a long weekend, Miss Scott?
It was a long weekend.
Sorry about that. I fell asleep till 2 in the morning last night.
It's about the time I went to sleep. And then I woke up
Really?
like 8, 10.
I woke up at first I woke up at 4 and then went back to sleep, and then I woke up at 5:50 or 5:45. I'm really tired today.
I got here at like 8:33.
Mm-hmm. You got here at what time? But that's why you weren't here this
Yeah,
morning.
I was here real late.
That's okay.
I didn't wake up till 8:10. And I was like, dang.
I'm gonna take my time. Miss Pearson will be all right.
Yeah. No, I wasn't supposed to work Saturday, and then I get a text from my manager, and he's like, "Hey, can you come in at 2:30?" And I was like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Actually, can you come in at 3:30?" And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Wait, come in at 3." And I was like, "Okay." Pick a time, and I'll be there.
All right. Ashlyn, Abby, and Ale, y'all are gonna give me this answer. So y'all can either come together, or I don't care, but y'all come up with an answer. Sam, Isaiah, and Sam. Oh, Sam squared and Isaiah. Y'all are responsible for that one. And then Trinity and Parker, you're responsible for that answer. Okay. And then I guess I'll do the last one. I didn't do that well. I didn't plan that very well. Isaiah, I messed up. I'll let you down. Yeah, you guys can either write them up here. I guess we can just put them up here. I'll decide if y'all want to do a committee. If you don't want to, that's fine. But Isaiah, you can turn it upside down, or you can come this way. Isaiah, do whatever you want. You're the man.
Yes, sir.
Isaiah, you didn't even confer with Sam.
I did.
He did.
Oh, my bad.
He came right here. He's like,
My bad,
"You
my
shook
bad.
me?" I was like, "Yeah."
You did. And y'all trust this guy over here, Isaiah?
We all got the same
We're on the same
answer.
page,
So.
so I would hope so.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Ashlyn. Oh my God. Bruce.
Start with me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna. Do you know how many times she punched me?
Yeah, I'm sitting right there.
You were sitting right there.
I did not punch you.
Technically, she's right. It wasn't a
I'm
punch.
playing. I'm
It was
playing.
soft.
Okay.
It wasn't a punch.
I
It was
don't
more
know.
like a smack.
Why did it hurt? She's scared me. I'm playing, Miss Ashley. I'm playing. I'll be quiet.
Okay, I got that.
One of them up here is right, but also wrong. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Sorry, Trinity. I guess I could have just turned it around, but I'm being lazy. Everybody's just coming around.
This is very.
And then I'll do the last one because, thank you. This one would just be 1 over 1. This is 1. Okay. So this one is right. This one, this part is right. This is not. What's 1 divided by 0?
Zero, right?
0 can divide it.
You can divide by 0.
Yeah.
The 11th math commandment.
Wait, so,
You cannot divide, it's not that serious, but you cannot divide by 0.
so it's not 0?
So it's just undefined.
Oh.
So on this, you're not, that's why I said you were right, but then you were wrong.
So only if the zero's on top you can.
Yes.
Okay.
Because 0 doesn't go into 1, ever. I don't have room to, oh, I do have room. So in the future, if it's a test or an assignment, write the word undefined. So 11th commandment, you cannot divide by 0. This one is correct, and then this one's correct. And there we go. Cool beans? Everybody see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Guys, to save time, well, this is where I lost. It's a Monday, right? And I lost a lot of my third period right here. So I'm just going to I'm going to give you like a brief where these numbers come from. I'm not going to get into detail like for each one because I don't want to lose you. But these numbers, so now we're going to do special angles. We're going to do 45, 60 degrees. And so in geometry, y'all did 45, 45s. And come to find out in my third period, I was a horrific geometry teacher. Apparently, that's what everybody said. So this is 1. In a 45, 45, you would divide that by radical 2. So remember how you can't have a radical in the bottom? So if I did 1 divided by radical 2, this would end up being radical 2 over 2. So I'm saving all that math, but just know that it comes from the 45, 45 rules. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write these down for you. This is where it comes from. So sine of 45 is going to be radical 2 over 2. Cosine is going to be the same. Cosecant, I would then flip this. And if I flip that,
Can't have the radical.
you can have the radical on the bottom. And if I did all that math and stuff, this would just be radical 2. So guys, I am saving you the time that I did during third period. This would be radical 2. They were really like hating me at that point. So this would, and then tangent is y divided by x. So it would be, what's radical 2 divided by radical 2? Or what's tangent if it's y divided by x? If I divide those, what does that give you? 1. So tangent at 45 should be 1. Because in a right triangle that's 45, 45, those legs should be the same. Cotangent is just flipped, which is just 1. Cool beans? Okay. Let's turn the page. Now we're going to do, okay, let's do 30 degrees. That was a special angle that we did in geometry. Again, I'm going to save you some of the trouble. Remember, the radius is always 1 for these problems. Remember how we did short leg, long leg? You don't have to remember the rules. It's okay. Sam was asleep.
Okay.
Or the female Miss Sam.
Call me out.
She was asleep the whole, I'm sorry, why am I calling you out like that? She doesn't remember. I'm just playing. That's being recorded. Great. So this would just be, it's half. The short leg is just half. So this is just half of 1, which is just half. The long leg is the short leg times radical 3, which would turn out to be radical 3 over 2. Which means that this is your x, this is your y, this is your r. So if I did sine, there's only one that I'm going to ask everybody to memorize. Everybody in this room. Sine of 130, that's the one I want you to know.
X over
130 or 30?
30, what did I say? Guys, I'm limited to sleep tonight. I mean, I'm just tired. All right.
Radical 3 over 2 over 1.
So sine 30 is y over
Oh,
R.
over R.
So it's 1/2 divided by 1, which is
I'll say this is calculated.
1/2.
1/2. Very good.
1/2 divided by-
I should say as a disclaimer, there's only like 5 kids in this class. Okay. Cosine of, so the one I want everybody to memorize, sine 30 equals 1/2. Memorize, that's the one thing I'm going to ask you, actually in advance, I'm going to ask you to memorize a little bit more. But then cosine would be this divided by that, which would just be radical 3 over 2. And it comes from your special right rules that you learn in geometry. Tangent would be 1/2 divided by radical 3 over 2, which turns out to be just radical 3 over 3. Cosecant of 30 is 2. Because I just flipped a 1/2. Then this would be 2 radical 3 over 3. And then this would just be radical 3. Because if you flip 3 over radical 3 and you did the math, that's what you would get. All right. Then this would be, just comes from the same on this one here. This would be 1/2 this time. This would be, basically these two swap. This would be radical 3 over 2, but this is still 1. So I'm going to write down all the answers, but they come down from your special rights. Oh, and then this would just be, why did I copy all this down? This would be 2, and this would be radical 3 over 3. Okay, so I think that's most of them. But because we did that a little bit faster than third period, what I'm going to ask that you do now, you're only going to have to do this once. It's going to be tedious for you in just a second. But what I want you guys to do is turn the page, and you're going to fill in this box. You're going to have to flip back and forth. I'll do one for you. What did I say sine of 30 is?
1/2.
So that's the first box. I want you to fill in all 9 boxes. You may have to flip back to one of the pages to go look, and it's okay to look. So go ahead. Isaiah, you got it?
But, so I got my.
Lucky, Mr. Isaiah. We're almost done, actually. Then you can play on your phone. Take a nap. Walk the halls. I'm kidding. Don't do that. All right. What was sine at 45? Radical 2 over 2. Sine at 60 was radical 3 over 2. Cosine, radical 3 over 2. This is going to be backwards this time. And it's going to be 1 over 2. Then this would be radical 3 over 3, 1, radical 3. For regulars, they get to use this sometimes. For y'all, you're going to have to memorize it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Okay, look. Check this out. I'm going to show you a different trick. Ms. Brania has one. I'm going to show you later. Okay? She has a different one. You get to choose which one you want to use, but for right now, we're just going to use this one. And we're not going to write it on the walls, and then we're going to... But look, the first two rows are divided by 2. On the top, remember how everybody has to know this is 1/2? Then just go, the top is just 1, 2, 3. Take the square root of those.
And the next one's backwards.
The next one is just backwards. 3, 2, 1. And then, what was her name? The Zunigas last year. Chase and Desiree? Were those the twins? Yeah.
Those are inches.
So, and then the last one, I could not think of anything for the bottom. And then Desiree said, well, Mr. Lopez, I just do like a code. I just do 3, 3, 1, 3. I don't know how you would memorize that, but she just did 3, 3, 1, 3. That's how she memorized it. No? That's not good? Well, you figure something out, all right? Like I said, okay, I'm going to show you a different technique. So you can either memorize the table. You don't have to memorize it now, okay? But that's just something that I just wanted to show you and stuff. And then all you're going to do today, we're kind of done with the notes. You're just going to answer questions based on the table. Use the table today. But before I start, I want you to do, this would be like your quad angles. Remember how this was 1, 0. This was 0, 1. This was -1, 0. I think this will help. And then this one was 0, -1. So if I'm referring to this here, what angle am I talking about right here?
270.
270. This would be 0 or 360. This would be 90 and this would be 180. Those are going to be the ones on the side are your quad angles. So you're just going to answer questions based on the table. What is sine of 30? That's the one everybody knows. That's just 1/2. 10 pi over 3 is the same as 10 of 60. So 10 of 60 is just radical 3. That's it. Now it's easier when you don't have to memorize it, right? What would be cosine of 180? That would be...
Pi 2 over 2.
No,
Or
not...
pi, radical.
No, cosine of 180 is not on here. So you got to look at this one, right? Because this is 180. So it's going to be x over r. So it's going to be -1 divided by 1. Remember, r is always 1. So up here, I'm going to put r is 1. R is always 1. So that would just be -1. Cosine of 45, that one's easy. That would just be radical 2 over 2. The one I want to show you, well, let's do secant. Secant is married, so I'm going to write this for now. Sine goes with cosecant. Cosine goes with secant. And then tangent goes with cotangent. So I'm going to look at cosine for secant of 30. I'm going to look at cosine of 30. So I go to cosine of 30. It's this, right? So this is the only time you have to do a little bit of math. This is what I was saying. If you have a marker, scratch paper, you're going to do 2 over radical 3. You have to flip it, right? Because it's secant. Then we have to get rid of the radical on the bottom. So you're going to multiply by radical 3 on the top and on the bottom. And so this would be 2 radical 3 over 3. That's the answer for secant. So only the secants, cosecants, and cotangents, you have to flip it. They're not on the table. Does that make sense? Okay. And then cotangent of 90, that would be r over, no, I'm sorry, that's x over y. So it's x over y. So it would just be 0 over 1, which would just be 0. Cool beans? And that's really what you're doing today. That's all. I know it took a lot of build-up to get to that. But so page 20, you are responsible for doing all of them, but you can do half today. Just do at least half. Any half that you want. What I will do is I will leave it on this screen so you don't have to flip back and forth. Hopefully that helps.